In a peaceful corner of Middle-earth lies the Shire, a land of rolling green hills and cozy little homes built into the earth. Among them lives Bilbo Baggins, a quiet and content hobbit who loves nothing more than breakfast, tea, and the safety of his warm home. His days are predictable and peaceful, and he has never imagined a life beyond his village. But one morning everything changes. A mysterious wizard named Gandalf the Grey arrives at Bilbo's door with an unexpected offer, an adventure. Bilbo immediately refuses, for hobbits have no use for adventures, danger, or discomfort. Yet as night falls, 13 dwarves appear one after another, filling Bilbo's house with laughter, noise, and stories of their lost homeland. Erebor, the lonely mountain once their kingdom, now guarded by the fearsome dragon Smaug. Their leader, Thorin Oakenshield, dreams of reclaiming his home and restoring his people's honor. The dwarves sing of gold and glory, and something stirs inside Bilbo's heart, something he never knew he had: curiosity. The next morning, when the company sets out, Bilbo runs after them shouting, "I'm going on an adventure." And just like that, the most unlikely hero begins a journey that will change his life forever. The road is long and full of peril. Bilbo struggles to keep up, mocked by the dwarves who see him as weak and unnecessary. But fate soon gives him a chance to prove his worth. One cold evening, the group stumbles upon 3 massive trolls arguing over dinner. When the dwarves are captured, Bilbo bravely tries to stall them with clever lies until dawn. At the last moment, Gandalf splits the rock with his staff, and sunlight turns the trolls to stone. Inside their cave, the company finds weapons of elven make. Bilbo takes a short sword, one that will later earn the name Sting, and with it the first spark of courage begins to grow within him. As they press forward, storms drive them into the misty mountains, where they are captured by goblins and dragged deep underground. Chaos breaks out when Gandalf arrives in a blaze of light, freeing them from the Goblin King's lair. In the confusion, Bilbo is separated from the group and lost in the dark. Alone in the cold tunnels, he encounters a strange whispering creature named Gollum. The two engage in a dangerous game of riddles, with Bilbo's life hanging in the balance. During the contest, Bilbo discovers a small golden ring that Gollum treasures dearly. When he slips it onto his finger, he vanishes. The ring has made him invisible. Using this strange power, Bilbo escapes the caverns and reunites with his companions, though he keeps the ring's secret to himself. They cross mountains, rivers, and forests, and their next trial comes in the dark woods of Mirkwood. The forest is thick with webs, shadows, and whispers. The group is captured by enormous spiders, and Bilbo, trembling but determined, uses his sword and the power of the ring to fight them off. Invisible, he strikes from the shadows, freeing the dwarves one by one. When the battle ends, the others finally see him for what he's become. Not a burden, but a hero. Yet their relief doesn't last long. Soon they are captured by wood elves and locked in prison by the suspicious elven king Thranduil. Once again, Bilbo's cleverness saves them all. Using the ring, he sneaks unseen through the halls, unlocks their cells, and hides everyone inside barrels that are sent rolling down the river to freedom. Laughter fills the air as they escape, and for the first time, Bilbo feels the thrill of true adventure. Their journey takes them to Lake Town, a city built on wooden platforms across the water. The people live in fear of the dragon who slumbers under the mountain, but when Thorin reveals his royal blood, they celebrate him as a king returned. The master of the town welcomes the travelers, hoping for gold and power once Thorin reclaims Erebor. Yet Bilbo begins to notice a change in Thorin: pride, greed, and a dangerous obsession with the treasure that lies ahead. Still, the company presses on toward the lonely mountain. When they finally arrive, they search for the secret door said to open only under the light of Durin's Day. Days pass without success until, at last, moonlight reveals the keyhole and the door swings open with a deep rumble. The others hesitate, but Bilbo steps forward alone. Inside, the air burns with heat and the gold gleams like firelight. Then he sees him, Smaug the dragon, vast and terrible, sleeping atop mountains of treasure. With trembling hands, Bilbo takes a single golden cup. But Smaug awakens. His eyes open like burning coals, and his voice shakes the air as he demands to know who dares enter his domain. Bilbo answers in riddles, careful not to reveal his name, but Smaug sees through the trickery. Furious, he bursts from the mountain, wings wide, fire lighting the sky as he soars toward Lake Town to unleash his wrath. Night falls and the city burns. Flames reflect on the dark water as the people scream and flee. Amid the chaos stands Bard the bowman, his bow drawn, his last arrow ready. Beside him, his son points out a bare patch on the dragon's chest, the missing scale. Bard whispers a prayer and lets the arrow fly. It strikes true. Smaug roars one final time before crashing into the lake, his fire extinguished forever. The dragon is dead, but his death brings no peace. News of the treasure spreads across Middle-earth, and greed draws armies to the mountain. Men, elves, and orcs march for gold. Inside Erebor, Thorin grows more unstable, consumed by dragon sickness, a madness born from his lust for the treasure. He searches endlessly for the Arkenstone, the heart of the mountain, his obsession blinding him to all else. Bilbo, fearing what the gold is doing to him, secretly hides the Arkenstone to protect his friend from himself. When Bard and Thranduil arrive, hoping for peace and a share of the wealth, Thorin refuses to listen. To prevent war, Bilbo secretly gives them the Arkenstone, believing it's the only way to stop the bloodshed. When Thorin discovers the betrayal, his anger is boundless. He banishes Bilbo, and the hobbit leaves the mountain in sorrow, realizing that the dragon's curse has taken root in Thorin's heart. Soon the mountain becomes a battlefield. The armies of men, elves, dwarves, and orcs collide in a storm of steel and blood, the battle of the five armies. Bilbo, small and afraid, still returns, determined to help in any way he can. As the battle rages, eagles descend from the skies, turning the tide. Amid the chaos, Thorin faces his greatest enemy, Azog the Defiler, the white orc who destroyed his home long ago. Their duel is fierce and brutal. Thorin kills Azog, but not before being mortally wounded. The battle ends and silence falls over the mountain. In the snow, Bilbo kneels beside his dying friend. Thorin looks at him with regret and whispers softly, "If more valued home over gold, the world would be a merrier place." With those words, the great dwarf king takes his final breath. Bilbo weeps, holding his friend's hand, his heart heavy with grief. The war is over, the dragon is gone, and Erebor is free once more. At last, Bilbo begins the long journey home. Gandalf walks beside him as they cross the same lands they once traveled in fear. When he finally returns to the Shire, Bilbo finds that he has been declared dead, his belongings sold, his name forgotten. But none of that matters. He sits by his fire again in the same cozy home where it all began, holding the small golden ring that once saved his life and will, one day, change the fate of the world. A quiet smile crosses his face as he whispers to himself, "Maybe adventures aren't such bad things after all." The camera lingers on the ring, gleaming faintly in the firelight as the story fades into silence. What began as a simple journey for one small hobbit became a tale of courage, friendship, and the discovery that even the smallest person can change the course of the future.